I'm gonna be real here. A lot of anime tie-in games are not really worth it because so many of them, well, for one, so many of them are retellings of the events of like the anime and whatnot. So there's that. But two, I don't know. It's just like it is what it is, but it really feels like there could be more you could do to really capture the spirit and energy of the anime that you're focusing on. You know what I mean? Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the All in Colors podcast, solo edition. I'm your host, the Sozo-sha, and today I kind of want to sort of take some time on my own to talk about video games. I know, revolutionary subject, never before heard on this podcast. But specifically, what I want to talk about is more of the kind of like games either I was kind of interested or excited for on some level and just disappointed me over time or when I started playing them. And for the most part, these are going to be to establish like, you know, sort of like where we're drawing the line here, right? To start things off, right, for the most part, I'm not going to really try and talk about games that, like, either I just have been sort of excited with at the start, and over time, eventually, I just kind of, you know, just grew to dislike it, like Genshin Impact and Hawkeye Star Rail, for instance, right? Yeah. I started off really enjoying them for various reasons, and over time it just grew to just fall out of them. That's not really what I want to talk about. No. I'm talking about games where it's like either I started liking them before they came out and then I played them, and then I just got disappointed in more ways than one. Or, like, I liked this game when I was, like, younger, but then I played it more recently, and, yeah, did not hold up as well as I would like it for it to do, so. But yeah, this is gonna be, like, because, I mean, look, if this is gonna be games where it's just, like, I still like them relatively, but, you know, they have criticisms, we'd be here forever. I would be incorporating games like BioShock Infinite and Devil May Cry 4, you know, like, I still think those are good games to play, and they're fun and entertaining, but they do have their problems. No, we're talking about games where it's like... Alright, to get things started, I kind of want to talk about a game that, in particular, I played, and I actually did this live. And at first, I was just kind of, I don't know, it was just kind of, I felt bored, I think, and then as time went on, I think I just, like, I genuinely was, like, disappointed. So, to those who don't know what After Us is, I don't blame you. But to those who don't know what it is a more adventurous game, and it is focused around, like, I've played it for less than an hour. The message is pretty obvious. It's focused around a pro-environmental message around how humanity has doomed the world, and it's in this, like, post-apocalyptic, decrepit, deteriorating world. Like, there's run-down and broken cars everywhere. They use platforms. Oil is a constant occupational hazard that if you step in it, it's like acid. And your main character, anytime they walk around or move, there's this trail of greenery that is left in their, you know, left in their path. It's a very pro-environmental message, but here's the thing, I knew that, but I wanted to see if it was like anything, you know, if it was able to, how it would handle the message. Like, because when I was thinking when I think of like games that have a simple message, but the way they tell them is very good, I think about games made by that game company. Games like Sky Children of the Light, Journey, Flower Flow, those kinds of games. I think that what they're trying to achieve and everything is, it's very simple. You can wrap your head around it. Like, for example, Journey is literally just you make it to a mountaintop, And it's, again, as the title implies, it's not about the destination as much as it is the journey that it took to get there. So very much the story itself and the value of it is within the journey. But with After Us, it was like, I looked at this and I'm like, I get the message. It's jackhammering me over the head with it. But I don't know. I really thought, maybe this could have benefited from more subtlety, maybe some more nuance and whatnot. Maybe even, I don't know, maybe even like a different way to approach the kind of subject. Like, for instance, all right, one of my more favorite manga series is around post-apocalyptic worlds, right? Is a series called Heart Gear. One of my favorite chapters is a story around this robotic artificial intelligence barber that is cutting the main character, who's a human, the last known living human in the world, cutting her hair, but not knowing that she's a human. And there's a whole story around sort of the differences and experiences between how long he's lived in serving humans and how long he's lived in serving different people who are more focused around gears instead of humans. Like a story around a mom bringing in her daughter, and eventually the daughter growing up, constantly going back to him, and eventually having a kid of her own and bringing her daughter to the barber to have her hair done. And then there's this other story of this dude who owns a bunch of gears and androids and whatnot, brings in one to have her have her hair done, and then the next time he came in, he brought in just a different new model off the shelf and whatnot. To me, stuff like that, I looked at my time playing After Us, and I felt like it could have benefited from more storytelling like that to me. Overall, I think, I mean, and I think it should be obvious here that, especially, if you've seen a number of YouTube videos with opinionated pieces, it should be obvious, just because I disagree or don't like something, that doesn't automatically mean that my word is law or anything, that you have to follow it. I will say this, After Us is a competent game. It works, it functions, it's fine. So if you want to check it out for yourself and everything, and go well, I want to, see if I think it's any good, go ahead. I don't mind. Form your own opinion around it. You don't have to constantly rely on me or anyone else. There, that should be. I don't know. I assume that's kind of obvious, but I don't know. Some people just, I guess, take fiction as if I'm when you dislike it. I guess some people just take fiction as, oh, I dislike this for my own personal reasons, and it's attacking their child or some shit. I don't know. But yeah, After Us, I mean, it's a okay game. If it's one of your first games you'll have around a more pro-environmental message, it'll probably be fine. But for me personally, I've played other games that do what this does and better in many respects, and it just is not for me. If anything, the disappointment was just on me because I set myself up for these expectations and they got dashed. I put it on a pedestal. That's what I was, that if anything, that disappointment is more on me. But still, it's still a disappointment nonetheless. Other than that, I mean, there's also a number of other games, some that I've played live, some that I've played offline and everything, so to speak, and yeah, one game in particular that is just I played live that I just did not like coming back to was RWBY Grim Eclipse. Like, that game... I mean, I already was kind of apathetic towards RWBY from the get-go. I mean, when I was starting it, because I used to like RWBY, and then I just kind of fell out of it. But then I played the game. I used to like it. But now I'm playing it, and I'm just like... I could... To me, I just look at it, and I'm like, this could have been so much different and so much more. Because you take a series like RWBY, a series that's heavily focused around combat and action, and even cooperation. And it feels like the pieces are there with this game, but it doesn't really feel like a RWBY game. It feels like a indie game that's wearing a RWBY mod on its characters, if that makes any sense. Like, for instance, right? The main gameplay elements is hack and slash. Okay, then there's an RPG skill tree, okay, but the skill tree doesn't really, like, add too much for the moves or anything. There's some things it does, it increases or adds onto it, but overall, it's not like, say, a Devil May Cry, like, where, you know, the more you upgrade your main character, the more moves you can unlock for them, the more potential you have to experiment and get crazy with the different with the different moves and whatnot during combat. There's none of that. Not really. There's not really any of that. Pretty much the moves that you have in the game, you're kind of just stuck with. It's mainly just, let's increase the damage. That's kind of it. And outside of that, there's also, like, what you're doing in the game. For a lot of times, it is, you know, it's wave after wave of hack and slash, which is fine. But there's also, like, a lot of tower defense elements. And I don't know, it's just, like, if you were a fan of, like, RWBY, like, volumes 1 through 3, right? Or even onward, and you saw this, it's just like, I seriously doubt this is, like, genuinely, not even whether or not you like it, I seriously doubt this is really what you expected from a game around the series of RWBY. I don't know, because I look at this and I'm like, this doesn't feel like RWBY. This feels like an indie game wearing RWBY as a skin to me. And that's what disappoints me the most, is that a series like RWBY, you could have done so much with it. Like, that's a big part of why I like and respect Cross-Tag Battle, is because it took RWBY characters and incorporated them in not just a medium, but also in a way that feels more akin to what RWBY was initially. Like, it being a fighting game, I feel like, is so benefiting is one of the genres that feels so benefiting of RWBY. Because, yeah, the series is best known for its fights. Love it or hate it. That's the thing it's best known for. So having these characters with their moves taken from the actual show and whatnot, and put into a game where they can just duke it out and everything, and even moments where you can just, like, have them tag in with one another and do tag attacks, like, that in and of itself, I think, is satisfactory for so many people who like RWBY. And here, like, I just did not get it. The game was constantly online, even when I was in single player. So there was that. I couldn't be able to just pause the game and go do something else. I had to, like, the only way for me to do that was to quit the game, or just, like, put the controller down and then just die, I guess. Or just stay perfectly still in areas where there's no enemies. No. I feel like, again, the game could have... The idea for a RWBY game could have been different. It could have been fitting, you know? Like, we could have gotten the equivalent of Dragon Ball FighterZ for RWBY. Like, love it or hate it, Dragon Ball FighterZ, to me, I think is the peak of Dragon Ball games. Because it captures not just the nostalgia and fan service of what people love about Dragon Ball, whether it be the anime or the manga, but it really feels like a genuine, like, it genuinely makes you, it's about the closest you can to, like, getting people to make them feel like, oh, this is similar to the actual, like the best parts I like about Dragon Ball and whatnot. Yeah, there's a mixture of, like, ki blast and whatnot, but there's also hand-to-hand combat and everything. Of course, in my opinion, if you want my, like, real opinion, I think the like, best Dragon Ball game to date, outside of Fighters, is absolutely going to be Budokai 3. I was about to say Budokai Tenkaichi. Budokai Tenkaichi 3 is okay, but Budokai 3... Oh, okay. Budokai Tenkaichi 3 is good. I don't want to downplay it, but Budokai 3, I think, genuinely scratches that itch of what an ideal Dragon Ball game is. And I think Fighters is genuinely, like, feels like a more updated version of that, with some, you know, some problems here or there. But that's what I'm trying to talk about, where it's like, RWBY feels like a series that it could have benefited from something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I remember, like, for Grim Eclipse, there was a pre-alpha prototype some years ago. I really wish I still had it, but there was a pre-alpha prototype that was literally just, you are in the, it's like, you're in the 3D set of what the red trailer was, and you're playing as RWBY, and you're just fighting a bunch of Grim. That's pretty much it. It was a bit clunky. It was not necessarily fully polished or anything, but it was merely just a prototype, a proof of concept, if you will, for the idea of what they could do. And I think my time playing that was actually really good. I really enjoyed it. So, you know, it just disappoints me that we didn't get something along the lines of what we like. We didn't get something along the lines of, like, a genuine, like, hack and slash RWBY game that, you know, like, RWBY being a Devil May Cry, like, essentially. We don't really have that. Like, RWBY being a Hi-Fi Rush, like, if anything, I think could actually work. But yeah, it's, I don't know. I really wanted to go back and see if I enjoyed that game, but when I did, it was just more problems arose the more I played it. And by the end of the time when I was streaming, I was just like, I just didn't want to continue bitching and moaning about it. Because that's another thing, too, is, like, there's a reason why I just don't like to make a lot of these podcasts, like, this is what I hate or anything. Is because I don't like to bitch and moan constantly. There are things to bitch about. There's things to bitch and moan about, sure, but I don't like to constantly make these just, hey, I don't like this and here's why, for an hour and a half. But I guess that's what I'm doing now, right? I don't know. When I was playing, I was just like, I was so disappointed in RWBY Grim Eclipse after all these years that I was just like, I'm gonna boot up an actual game I think that is more along the lines of what RWBY really should have been, and it was Cross-Tag Battle. I felt so much more satisfied playing that as opposed to Grim Eclipse. If you want to try it out for yourself, I mean, the game is available, but personally, it's just like, as a former RWBY fan, it just didn't scratch that itch. There's also, well, I think I've made a video talking about this, but there's also a JRPG that I had the opportunity to play years ago at this point. I think more than one, at least. I don't know how long ago it was, but it was a game called The Caligula Effect. Now, I knew about the Caligula Effect from its anime, and over time, my pretty much impression of it is that, like, I understood what it's doing. It's pretty forgettable, though. Yeah, it's, a lot of the stuff does not help with it being forgettable. For example, the character designs are very bland and kind of forgetful. A lot of the characters just are not really all that interesting. Also, there's way too many characters for the anime. But the story itself, especially in like the first couple of episodes or so, is very easy to latch on to. It's very understandable. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to play the game the anime is based off of, because I think if... I don't know. Because in some cases, you know, usually like the anime, when it comes to adapting a game, doesn't necessarily do the best job. And so, you know, when it comes to the actual game, like, it struggles to really capture the spirit of that. Like, what was it? There was a anime based off of a game where it's just like, I think it was. Oh no, I'm blanking on. There's a number of things. I wanted to pick a specific one, but my point is that like a lot of anime adaptations just kind of suffer from when it comes to adapting games, because for the obvious reason, a lot of these games are meant to be played. You're supposed to interact with them, so you take that away from the player, all you're left with is the actual story and characters, and that's fine, but sometimes it's just not enough with the way you handle it to be able to like keep a viewer invested in everything. And with the Caligula effect, I thought if the series is just kind of alright but forgettable in my eyes, I want to know what the game is like. I played the game, and I think I might have been way too hard on the anime, because wow, it was one of the worst, like, disappointing experiences I have ever had with a JRPG. First off, right? And here's the fun fact too. I got shit for this. I got shit for saying that I just hated this fucking game because of how it was. But here's the thing. I started off in the game. I made my I made my character name and whatnot. I picked the gender. And then it opens me up to some dialogue, cutscenes. It throws me into the things. Now, throwing the viewer into the events and whatnot is not a bad thing, but it always depends on how you do it. With the way it was, I was just like, I was confused and like, what the hell is going on? I don't really understand any of this. What was going on? I mean, I'm just trying to picture this from someone who's never watched the show or anything, or just doesn't know what's going on, because chances are there's going to be a lot of people who play this game. But I was playing it, and it was just like, at the start, like, people were just transforming into monsters or whatever, and the main character saw that and just tried to leave. And it was just like, what's going on? I don't understand. And then after that, it's just more cutscenes. Like, I don't do anything aside from maybe an occasional button press of a dialogue option. And then, like, they had this discount Hatsune Miku Vocaloid-esque character show up, and it's just, like, trying to, like, satisfy me with all these things that I could potentially want. And then I have a scene where it just cuts to white, and I awaken, I guess, to my special power. And then at some point they throw me into a fight, to which the tutorial of the fighting everything, yeah, it shows me the basics and how to fight, but it doesn't go through it step by step. Like, okay, in most tutorials for like JRPGs, right? A lot of tutorials when it comes to the fights will go, okay, so you're encountering an enemy. You press this button to attack, you press this button for certain skills, and, oh, you're hurt. You should press this button to open up your items and heal, or stuff like that. Like, it's usually taking you step through step. I know it's a little bit, like, tedious and everything, but, you know, if you're new to a series and everything, it's good to better establish, hey, here's how the game works. Like, Pokemon, for instance, is a great, like, baby's first RPG kind of thing. Because if you are a kid and you have never played, like, an RPG or anything, it's great at introducing you to a lot of these different mechanics and getting you into the game. not just the world or anything, but getting you into playing the game. The Caligula effect just doesn't really hit the same with that. It is just, okay, you have to fight these enemies. Here's a list of the basics, because I 100%, if I were to continue, I imagine, oh yeah, we're gonna have more combat to add, because I was just kind of playing by myself at that point. But here's the basics of what you can do. Cool, but it doesn't go through it like, you know, more so giving me the rundown step by step so I can ease into this. No, it said, here's the basics, here's just everything you need to know in a couple pages or so. Have fun. And I didn't even know what the fuck I did, but apparently I won. And after that, I wouldn't even be able to know, because after that, there's more cutscenes. I'm introduced to more characters I don't care about, I don't know. And this is in less than an hour, by the way. Introduced to more characters I don't know. I'm being thrown into a situation I don't really understand, and I don't really feel like I need to actually participate in to fight. Like, I get, you know, like, these characters are, you know, fighting against something and trying to get out of their situation and everything, but it's just like, the series to me hasn't really established a clear understanding for the protagonist to be able to side with them. Like, okay, for instance, right, cut back to Pokemon, right? Pokemon, I mean, yeah, you're 10 years old in the world of Pokemon. They introduce you to this world and everything, but 10 years old and they state that, yeah, you're 10 years old, you should go out in the world and you want to become a Pokemon trainer. Okay, so they ease you into this, at least. With the Caligula effect, it feels like I skipped something. It feels like I skipped a game, it feels like I skipped, like, a prologue or something. But there's no, like, supplementary material outside of, like, the anime that adapted this game. And it's just like, I just didn't know what to take of it. By the time I could even be able to move, it was already, like, by around an hour or so. And I was just like, I didn't want to play the game anymore. You know, I've played a number of JRPGs. I've played some Tales of games. I've played Persona. I have played Fate Extra. I have played Black Rock Shooter. You know, I've played a number of JRPG games. But that one, it's just like, I was really interested in seeing what it was like. I was really interested in seeing what the series that got an anime adaptation was like. And it just did not interest me. Did not. That's why I'm like, I feel like the anime, I was a little hard on it than I really should have been. And I feel like, you know, I do think the anime has its problems, but looking at what the game was like, it's just like, I really think I, like, need to cut some slack. But yeah. It was not my speed. It was genuinely not for me, man. I hated playing that game, man. And I got shit for that, too. Like, there were people who were fans of Caligula who were giving me shit, and it's just like, I don't know what the fuck else you want me to say. It's just like, I didn't like playing the game, so I'm not playing it anymore. I thought it sucked. Whatever. I don't... JRPG fans are some of the weirdest motherfuckers who are incredibly defensive I have ever seen in my life. Like, the amount of unprovoked times that I have heard the JRPG community bring up Video Game Donkey as a negative over the fact that he doesn't seem to like JRPGs is just insane. There are people that in the JRPG community that fucking hate Video Game Donkey because he jokes and talks about JRPGs, I guess, and doesn't necessarily like them all that much. Like, look, I'm sorry that you think Video Game Donkey killed your dog and wore it as a festive hat, but dude, it's not that big of a fucking deal. Like, okay, you like the game. Good for you. Not everybody's gonna like your fucking game. You gotta deal with it. But there are people that just don't want to deal with that. There are people that would rather go to the grave constantly hateful towards other people that they never met, or just hateful towards a lot of the petty shit that they seem to care about and whatnot. And just stay that way instead of actually, you know, just actually seeing things more in a like constructive or nuanced light. I don't know. I say this as somebody who plays JRPGs. It's just like the JRPG like community on the whole is really weird and honestly pretty fucking annoying. I'm gonna be real here. There are people in it, of course. Like most, look, I wouldn't be. If I thought that about everybody in the JRPG community, I wouldn't have the most of the people that I actually am still friends with to this day. I wouldn't. So I know that, yeah, there are people in the community that are, like, different. That like playing these games because they like it. But that's not everybody. On the whole, like, a lot of the experiences I've had with JRPG fans has been pretty negative and pretty, I've had a few aneurysms in the past. But, you know, case-by-case basis, it's a different story. What else? Oh yeah, right. I haven't played this in a while, and there's a few reasons why for that. Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Strikers. That's another game that I was just disappointed in ultimately. I'm gonna be real here. A lot of anime tie-in games are not really worth it because so many of them, well, for one, so many of them are retellings of the events of like the anime and whatnot. So there's that. But two, I don't know. It's just like it is what it is. But it really feels like there could be more you could do to really capture the spirit and energy of the anime that you're focusing on. You know what I mean? Like, but. There's a reason why I picked this over like Ninja Storm 4 is because like it's about as well as you're gonna get for an anime tie-in game to Naruto as you can get. But this in particular is like this is like its own original story with a horde of characters that, you know, you can basically like Soul Calibur-esque style of like make your own and then have them take the style of insert character from the series here. Which is cool. And, you know, it has its moments, but for the most part, it is a genuine, like, I just did not like this game. I did not like going back to it or anything. For one, it's constantly online. And more times than often, I have had to deal with internet connection problems on the game's behalf. And so on and so forth. Also, the game is just not fun to play. There's barely any single-player modes, and even then, they're not really all that fun. The multiplayer modes, a lot of people, it's kind of the problem with arena fighters, where it's just people will choose the most busted or broken characters, and then go, yep, this is it, I'm done. Like, there's a number of characters in it. And also, like, the DLC, for instance, is just bullshit because it's the... You know, I was given praise before, but it's the Dragon Ball FighterZ problem of the DLC is nothing but insert blank character here. Because the DLC in Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Strikers is nothing but Naruto. And it's all different iterations and whatnot. There are some characters that I could pick from and whatnot that are cool. But for the most part, across the board, it is literally just the same character, but hey, it's from this particular part of the story. It's... I don't Anyway, it's just I just playing it occasionally was okay. I played it with my friends a couple of times, but that's about it. When I tried playing it with myself or even with other people, for the most part, I have an occasional match where it was like okay, but for the most part, it was a slog because a lot of people would just choose like the most broken fucking characters and then just make the game completely unfun. You know what I mean? Like, it was constantly online. There wasn't really any like other modes outside of like PvP. There wasn't really any modes outside of like PvP. It was a lot of PvP. There were some, I think there was like 1 or 2 modes that might have been PvE, but it was still held back by like the fact that it was mostly PvP. Yeah, it's not fun. It really is just not fun. There's like, again, some moments throughout it where it's just like, okay, this is kind of cool, or this is kind of neat, but overall it was just, I don't know. The more I played it, the more I just got disappointed, and the more it just like really like my enjoyment for it just genuinely just fucking tanked. Like, I played it with my friends at first and I was enjoying it because we were just all being able to play with one another. But as time went on, especially with the fact of I bought it on PlayStation 4, you know, the console that you need to keep purchasing the online subscription in order to be able to play a game like that, because the only games you can play for free online are games that you don't pay for. No, unless it's Destiny 2, because it used to cost money and now fucking it's free, but you also have to have an online membership to be able to play it. You had to pay money for this live service game, and yeah, and then I thought, all right, well, maybe I'll try playing it on something like, oh, I don't know, Steam, because I have a Steam Deck. Maybe it'll work for it. No, the game has the anti-cheat, and it doesn't want to work with Steam Deck. So yeah, it's just not fun. Like, it could be, you could, like, and all the fucking Boruto haters, you can let go of Boruto characters in this. It won't change the fact that this game fucking sucks. This game fucking sucks. It really does. It's okay for maybe a session, but after that, you really start to notice a lot of the problems, in my eyes. Man. There's also, there's also like Kill la Kill If, which is an anime licensed tie-in fighting game. It came out, I don't remember when, but it was like, for a little bit, it was like a big deal because, hey, Kill la Kill is getting a video game, finally. But man, was it disappointing. Okay, so there's like, on the whole, it's done by Arxis, and there's a number of things here where it's just like, this is really cool. Like, I like the different, like, it's an arena fighter, but there's a lot of different, like, things that they did for every character in particular. Like, every character has their own kind of fighting style and whatnot, and that's really cool for an anime arena fighter. The problem is, the story is just a retelling twice of the original anime, and next to that, fucking, they add in the final episode form for Ryuko, and they added in a brand new form for Satsuki. Those forms are not unlockable. Like, they add in these super ultra powerful forms, not unlockable. Also, you can't play as a number of characters throughout this. You can't play as, like, Nui Harime. You can't play as Ragyo Kiryuin. There's a number of characters from Kill la Kill you just can't play as, even if they don't really show up. Like, the roster is very small. It's abnormally small. And then, like, you know, single player is one thing, but then I tried playing online, and that is just playing the waiting game. I tried playing online and just waiting for it. I got a matchup once in the entirety I've had the game, and they immediately quit. Yeah, the game is... It's like, I won't blame Arxis if they never come back to it, because the game is... Yeah, it's really disappointment, especially if you're a Kill la Kill fan, honestly. You'll probably like it if, you know, you're coping and want a Kill la Kill game, but this isn't it, man. Like, if we're gonna get a Kill la Kill game, I think we need something like a Guilty Gear Strive. I think we need something like that. Like a game that really, like, plays more to the Kill la Kill fans, and really just, like, genuinely is satisfying in a lot of ways. Like, all those different characters that they included in the anime, where it's like, yeah, they're all, like, they have all these different uniforms and they can fight and whatnot. Yeah, bring those characters in, you know, get the budget and bring those characters in and whatnot, and make a full game out of it. That would be really cool, but I seriously doubt... I don't know. I think a lot of us thought that, you know, like, Marvel fighting games were kind of done. And then Arxis came out with Marvel Tokon, and that's been doing numbers, like, for a while now in the FGC. So, I don't know. Maybe Arxis could come back for another Kill la Kill fighting game if people want it. And, you know, I mean, I think the most disappointing thing about Kill la Kill F2 is that I can see the potential, because the characters in the game, like, they're all varied. They're all, like, they have all these different diverse, like, movesets and whatnot. It's basically, like, the equivalent of Pokken Tournament, where all the different Pokemon in Pokken Tournament have their own movesets and pros and cons to them. It's kind of like that, but on a more simpler, sort of watered-down scale, because the game is very easy to pick up and very easy to learn, which is a problem in and of itself with a lot of arena fighters. But, I mean, like, genuinely, if we were to get a game more along the lines of, like, you know, Strive, or even BlazBlue, or, like, Fighters and whatnot, like another Arxis game, and have it do justice, like, I think that could really genuinely, like, be in there. I think it really could be satisfying for a lot of Kill la Kill fans. I'm not bitching at this because I'm just like, oh, like, this game sucks and Kill la Kill fans and Arxis should feel bad. Like, no, I'm saying this because you know, it's not a series I will go back and watch for various reasons, one of them being Rakio, but Kill la Kill is a series I do like, and I would like to see it get a game that actually does the anime and whatnot, and for the fandom and whatnot, it does it justice. Speaking of Arxis, that reminds me, another game in particular I thought was, in its own eyes, a disappointment. Like, I struggle to say disappointment, but I think overall it is a disappointment, is Persona 4 Arena. Yeah, I know people are gonna hate me for that, but I don't care. Like, Persona 4 Arena is a disappointment, and there's a couple reasons why. One, if you are mad at me for that, you're in one of two camps. Either you're someone who's a fan of Persona, or you're someone who is a fan of Persona who also likes fighting games. If you are the latter, you're genuinely the niche of the player base that actually enjoys and continues frequenting this game, which there are people that still do. Hell, I actually have it. I own it. But Persona 4 Arena, a lot of people in the Persona fandom say, hey, this is the canon sequel, the continuation to Persona 4. Yeah, but here's the thing, and here's a problem with what. First off, before Steam and everything, it released on the Xbox. which is a system that the Persona series was never available on until Golden kind of actually opened them up to getting it multi-platform. So at this point in time, if you didn't have either a PlayStation 2, a PlayStation Vita for Golden, or an Xbox 360, or all of the above, you weren't able to play this game. And you weren't able to really enjoy it. Especially if you didn't have any PlayStation devices like a PS2 or a PS Vita. You weren't able to enjoy it. And that to me is a problem. Because if you consider this game to be like a canonical sequel, on some level it has to be, like, it still has to hit the same with the fandom. Like, you can make your game in a different, like, appeal to a different, crowd with its gameplay, but you also have to have it at its heart be the same game that fans came for the series and love it for. Like, okay, you can make, for instance, say Animal Crossing New Horizons got a sequel, right? If you make it a Hades-like, and you make it a canonical sequel to Animal Crossing New Horizons, you're alienating your Animal Crossing audience, because on the whole, a lot of people who play Animal Crossing New Horizons are not going to be in it for a roguelike or roguelite. Sorry, roguelike or roguelite. Because a lot more people who, we know the meme of, like, the Doom in Animal Crossing, right? But a lot more people who generally like Animal Crossing are there to just kind of kick back and sort of relax. More or less. It's just an easy way to take the edge off for the most part. Or it's just kind of a easy, calming, and whatnot. It's just a chill game. And that's fine. But you know what I'm saying, right? Is that if Animal Crossing New Horizons all of a sudden decided to become a Yu-Gi-Oh game, like, that was what Nintendo was shilling. Not another Animal Crossing game. It was just an Animal Crossing Yu-Gi-Oh game. It was canonical sequel to Yu-Gi-Oh. Or not Yu-Gi-Oh, sorry, I'm getting my words mixed up. But it was a canonical sequel to Animal Crossing New Horizons. Would you really be down to play it and enjoy it all the same, as opposed to it just being, hey, this is Animal Crossing New Horizons 2? You know what I mean? That's the problem I have with Persona 4 Arena. Is that this is supposed to be a canonical sequel to Persona 4. But the problem is, a lot of the people who are fans of Persona are not going to play it. Because JRPG fans on the whole, do not give a fuck about fighting games. There are even some people I know in the JRPG community who occasionally play fighting games who don't really bother with Persona. There's also I also just kind of had a lap, sort of just like my brain just kind of paused there, but yeah, there is true. But there's also people in the JRPG community I also play that also just don't fuck with Persona 4 Arena. And a number of them also like Persona too. Like, I guarantee you, for as much as Persona fans want to talk about it and everything, want to talk it up and everything, I'm willing to bet over 2/3 of the actual people who are showing for this either don't actually own Persona 4 Arena, or most likely they do own it, but they aren't bothered to actually play it. Because I have checked in various Discord servers, I have talked to various people, I've even tried at some points getting sessions set up, and the demand to play this game is so unbelievably low. And I will see it, because I've been told about this and I've looked into it. I will see there are people that enjoy playing this game. Like, there's an audience for it, but in comparison to if you were to, say, announce a new Persona 6 game, oh, it's very, very low. It's very fucking low. doesn't even come close to like half of the Persona fandom. It's just a game that exists as a talking piece for Persona fandoms to justify what is and isn't canon. That's really all there is to it. It's really all there is to it. Yeah. It's a disappointment because, like, hey, a Persona 4 fighting game, or a Persona fighting game in general, if you were to get rid of the fact that of like, oh, this is canon to Persona and whatnot, if you were to get rid of that and just make it a side game, I don't think, like, you would have really alienated a whole lot of people. Like, sure, there are plenty of Persona fans that wouldn't be down to play a fighting game, but you'd still have people in the FGC going like, oh, you know what? I think I'll give this a shot. I think I'll actually do like this, you know? All right. But yeah. Alright, but I do kind of want to move on from this because I think I made my point clear. But other than that, if there's any other disappointing games, like genuinely, if I would have to say one, it was Kurtzpel. Now, to those that don't know this game, or to those who don't know, this game in particular came out around late 2018s, early 2019s or so. Like, it was a early access, it still is, it's an early access MMO kind of game. And at first, it had a lot of these different modes. It had, like, or not all these different modes, but it had this different content available. Like, you could play through what was available of the story and unlock, you know, certain weapons and whatnot. Like, you unlock, you know, gauntlets, you could unlock, I forget the other weapons, but it's like you get a choice of like one weapon or the other, and then whatever weapon you don't pick, you get whatever weapon you don't necessarily pick, you get to play through that story and unlock that weapon class. It's like, I think it's like bows, great swords, it's gauntlets, and then a staff. I think those were like the first 4 classes that you could get in the game. And they added all these different little stories to them. And also, like, the more you play through the game, you get to interact with the NPCs who are the masters of these different weapon classes. The more you talk to them, the more cosmetics you can unlock, and even unlock certain special moves and whatnot. You can even unlock, like, weapon skins for the weapons. Like, it was really cool. And then sometime in 2020 or 2021, they got rid of that. They got rid of that, and they instead went, let's make, for starters, let's charge everybody DLC for these different weapons. That went very poorly, and they rescinded that for a time, to where now you could just buy it with in-game currency, which is cool. But instead of the game being more like having this own little story focus and you unlocking weapons and everything, now it's just PvP. And for the time, it was okay. It's alright. They had some, you know, PvE modes, which were cool. It's alright. You know, like back in the day, I could find matches and still play with people. I made some friends on there. I don't talk to them anymore because we just all stopped playing Kurtzpel. Wonder fucking why. But as time went on, ultimately, it got worse and worse. They added more and more, and I think they're still doing that. They're adding more and more cosmetics, more and more weapon classes. And now they're like time gating and progression gating it essentially, but they like, again, there's like again, without the story aspect and whatnot, all of this left is like PvP, and the game pretty much is like on life support. The game is barely like alive at all. Like, so many people just don't give a fuck about Kurtzpel anymore because everything that people really liked about the game pretty much is gone. Yeah. And it's just... I tried playing this, I think it was last year, with my friends, because I was just like, I wanted to see if we couldn't try to at least somewhat enjoy it. We couldn't even get a party up to play the game at all. I tried creating a new character to see how the new experiences was, and it thought I was still on the same account, and it just pushed me into that with a new character. That was it. That was all it did. Yes, we spent more of that time bitching about like the game and whatnot and talking, as opposed to actually playing it. It was a complete and utter disappointment. And the thing is, it's just like, you know, technically speaking, it is like a live service title and whatnot, but, I mean, it is a live service title, but I've been on and off of that game. Like, I played it years ago for some weeks, and then I quit it, and then 2020 hit, and then I found myself going back to it, to which they got rid of all the stuff I liked, more or less. And then I sort of left that. 2021, 2022, I came back to it, I realized, it's not really all that fun anymore. And then, like 2 years later or so, I come back to it with my friends, and we are just, it's not even fun. I legitimately quit the game just to play Tekken 8. Ugh. It's funny, because, like, you can make a anime MMO with a create a character system, and it genuinely, like, hitting all the right notes and everything. And I really think it would have a place today. Which, that reminds me, there's another disappointing game I just did not like. That was Blue Protocol. I remember initially, I heard about it, I think, at the Game Awards or something. Or maybe I heard about it online, I don't remember what. But I remember hearing about it. I was like, okay, that looks really cool. I kind of want to try it. That game got shut down before it even could reach Steam, which is unfortunate. Some years later, come 2025, the game is apparently coming back under different developers and whatnot. And I tried playing it because I was like, oh man, I remember when I was kind of excited for Blue Protocol. I didn't know they brought back, so I tried playing it. Aside from some technical issues like cutscenes not loading on the Steam Deck, the game just was not... It felt really low effort in my eyes. I mean, for one, like, the story, it's kind of in the similar vibe of like the Caligula effect, where it threw me into things, and I just did not care about this or anyone for that matter. It just gave me a bad, it just had a bad time of making me really try to give a fuck. And then I tried actually, like, you know, I was stuck in some cutscenes, many of which had a lot of like visual problems. I don't know whether or not it was because of low graphics or whatnot, but there were some visual problems. And then I tried playing the game, and no joke, actually, like, grinding was genuinely, like, unfun. Like, I started playing off with, like, some level 1 mobs and whatnot, but enemy respawns were so fucking fast. Like, it was every, like, 2 to 3 seconds, enemies would just respawn. Every time I killed them. I just kept at that. Minding my own business. And then, at some point, the game crashed. I don't know. I thought, you know, when I heard about Blue Protocol and when I saw the previews, I thought this was going to be, like, this would have been interesting, you know? Because I've played games like Final Fantasy XIV, and I thought, you know, if there's an anime MMO that can kind of tap into what FF14 is about, you know, I really feel like I could enjoy that with my friends. And, yo, you make it free to play, oh, that could go a long way. There's other stuff I've even heard in the game that just I didn't get to. For instance, like, the game has a gacha system, I guess, but I never really got to it because the game fucking crashed for me, and it was just not fun. It was just not fun to play. Really. It has, like, different classes, but I don't know. On the Steam Deck, I don't think I even got to see, like, the previews of what they were. Yeah. I don't know. The game... The game just was, like, uninteresting. I'm gonna be real, it kind of bored me when I was, like, starting it. The character creation system is okay, but it is very much, like... I don't know. It's there. You can do... it has plenty of options, but that's about it. I don't know. What else is there? Well, I think I talked about it a little bit, but there's also Mecha Break. Yeah, Mecha Break was a disappointment in my eyes. I saw the previews and releases for Mecha Break, and I was like, this looks really fucking cool. Like, because I was expecting something like Gurren Lagann, right? I was expecting Gurren Lagann, just as an anime game. And I was thoroughly disappointed. Like, the game is just, like, in my eyes, needlessly photorealistic. There's very little to fucking do in the game outside of actual, like, PvP. And it's basically just a BR. It's just a battle royale from it. And I played the, you know, like, the multiplayer number of times. And every time, it is so fucking slow. I boot it up. I'd be, like, looking at different enemies and whatnot. I'd be fighting different, like, computers and AI. And then I would just be traversing the map for, like, multiple minutes. I'm talking, like, 10, maybe even 15 minutes. It gets real fucking boring. I only came across one other person playing the game once in, like, I think I played like 5 or 6 sessions. I came across one person. That's it. That's all I came across. Other than that, I was mainly fighting against AI. And I don't mean like, oh, other AI bots. No, not necessarily. I mean like just AI put in the game to just essentially attack me, like turrets and gunners and whatnot. That's all I was really going against. I really hope one of these days we can get a Gurren Lagann fighting game. I don't mean like, hey, let's have like, you know, let's do what Mecha Break did exactly. No, I mean like, let's have sort of an arena style fighter with giant robots. I think that would be so fucking... I think you could really like actually tap into something with that. Like actually having an arena fighter with giant robots, I think is an untapped market. Actually, and do it good too. But yeah. I don't know how it is nowadays. It probably is better. I don't know. I know it's free. It probably is a lot better. It probably is a lot more popular, but in my experience playing it, and this was like the day it launched too and everything. In my experience playing it, it was just not all that fun. It really wasn't all that fun. But yeah. Oh, man, honestly, I just kind of feel like any. But you know what? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna wrap this up with probably the most like disappointing game I've ever played in recent years, and that to me is Eternights. Eternights is one of the worst fucking games I've ever played. It is one of the worst fucking games I've ever played. The writing sucks. The writing genuinely sucks. I get it was a very like low budget game that was like done by one person. I'm not excusing that. because we have games made by one other person that have done immensely. Like Bright Memory was made by one person, I think, for the most part. Toby Fox made most of his games like just by himself for the most part. Like Undertale and Deltarune, I think, were all done by him. Or at the very least, I think Undertale was done mostly by him. But even so, like that bar is like there's already a bar set, so it being made by one person mostly is just like I don't care, because like we've already seen what other games done by one people can do, for better or worse. And Eternights is just like, I've heard people compare this like, oh, this is like Persona, this is like Dark Souls. I played it and it's just like, in my eyes, that's an insult to those franchises, if anything. The combat is not good. The combat is not good. It's way too fucking simple and way too fucking easy. It is way too easy to parry shit. It's way too easy to avoid enemies and whatnot. And then there's also, like, I guess the Persona-based system and whatnot, which is just the social sims and the dialogue. It's very cringy. And not the, like, oh, it's not the fun kind of cringe. It is very much a case of, like, it's very, like, this is, it feels like it's written by somebody who has never really been friends with other girls or anything. It feels like it's written by a guy who doesn't know how to write women or men, or it feels like the reverse, where it's written by a girl who doesn't know how to write, who doesn't know how to write guys. Either way, it's written by somebody who has like genuine social ineptability, like genuinely socially inept. It really feels like that. Like, it feels like something a stereotypical or cliche like jock or guy at the bar all about having sex with women would really. It's just like that. It feels like this is the kind of game that it lies with, and it's just like it feels so fucking disappointing. Because a game like this, like a post-apocalyptic story, where you have the opportunity to just like converse with others and make friends and even find a lover and everything, or even having like a more like fan service or sort of adult vibe to it, I think you really can do that. But this game, to me, I just look at it and it just does not. It doesn't vibe with that. It expects you to be stupid enough to say yes and to this and everything. It doesn't want you to question anything. It doesn't want you to... It doesn't expect much out of you outside of the bare essentials of just say yes and just do your job. And I just don't fucking like that. I don't like playing a game like that. Like, legitimately. There was a point where it's just like, they were saying like, oh yeah, we really don't have all that long before, you know, the end of the world and everything. I was just asking, how long? Well, don't worry about it. No, how long? I said don't worry about it. How long? Just like, will you shut up and focus on getting through the first objective, whatnot? It's like, no, I want to know how fucking long. You're putting me on this journey to fucking like do your work and everything, and you don't even bother keeping me in the loop about what I need to fucking do. I think my breaking point was like, they were trying to have like this dramatic moment, but then it was just like cut completely through the insistence of like, oh yeah, these guys are perverts. It really was not, it was not funny. It was very blatant on what it wanted to be. And it wasn't kind of like the, oh, this is like, it's trash, but it's enjoyable trash that I can shut my brain off to in my eyes. No, this is just bad. It's just bad. Like, I didn't like this. I get, again, and know it's made by a person, but it doesn't change the fact that it's shit. It doesn't change the fact that it's shit. I think we've had stuff like was come out that's mainly made by one person over the last, 10 years or so, to showcase that just because it's made by one person doesn't automatically excuse it from criticism. Because if that's the case, then what that means is games like Yandere Simulator, like, it's unfair for us to criticize it. Despite the fact that, no, it's absolutely fair to criticize it. Especially this late in the fucking game, when I don't even think it's still... I still don't even think it's finished. Like, it's absolutely right to criticize it, especially its creator. Oh my fucking god, I just remembered. Yeah, you know what? Let's close on this. There is one game even worse than Eternights. Even worse than Eternights. That I absolutely, like, fucking hated. Like, this game. Oh, god. It was such a major disappointment. You want to talk about disappointments? Let's talk about, like, in my eyes, the crowning achievement disappointments. And that is a game called One Late Night. If you know about this game, you know, more or less, that, yeah, this game had some promise. If you don't know about this game, chances are you have not been subscribed to people like Markiplier or PewDiePie or so on for all that long. But yeah, this game, when it started, it came out as like sort of a playable demo that people like Markiplier, people like PewDiePie had played, and it was genuinely... Hell, even my friend Kagado actually played it on his channel, and yeah, it was like, I mean, it did have its issues every so often, but for the most part, it was a relative, like, decent proof of concept. Like, okay, this is a pretty decent, you know, concept for a horror game. You know, for the most part. But I mean, the demo is about as best as you were gonna get for this game, because the game came out at initially, I think it was $15. Now it's $1. But the game came out $15. It's I think it's called One Late Night Overtime or some shit like that. I don't remember. But yeah, the game, oh man, there was nothing for it. Like, it had stuff, but by god, is it just so fucking bad. Like, I don't even think it had quality assurance. I don't even think it had playtesting. It was a bad fucking game. It was so fucking bad. I'm not even kidding. Oh my god. Like, there were so many bugs, glitches, a lot of tedious shit that didn't need to be in the game. Like, you could die from, like, dehydration in a night. It's like, it's My Summer Car levels of fucking bad, you know? Oh my god. It was so terrible. It's like, I played it once and it was just like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. I'm trying to follow this game. I'm trying to play it how it wants me to. But by god, it's just like, I try to play it one way and how it wants me to, and it smacks me in the face because it's not exactly how it wants me to play it. And such a fucking major disappointment. Like, it's one of those games where it's like, you can look on the Steam page right now and it probably would say, like, nothing but negative. Nothing but negative. It's such a disappointment. Like, the only thing I could probably say that's, like, you know, okay about it is that now it's only $1. But even then, I think that's $1 too much. It's one of the worst fucking games. Like, it plays terribly. It has some issues, like, for example, I think there's, like, audio issues, if I remember correctly. There's audio issues. Again, like, there's problems where it's just, like, there's some game-breaking stuff, and issues where it's, like, you just will die occasionally or randomly, and it's aggravating because you're trying to play the game, and you're trying to actually, like, enjoy and whatnot. But it's the same thing with, like, stuff like Sonic 06, where it's like, despite the fact that you're trying the game, it doesn't change the fact that this game is a buggy fucking mess that didn't really seem to have, it didn't really seem to, like, I don't know, it just doesn't really feel like a game that got past any kind of testing. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the only game that the dev released, and then they just, like, and they just stopped after that. But if they made another game, I would hope that, actually, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna look it up. Fuck it. Because I'm like, if they made another game, I hope that it's better than what they did with One Late Night, because my time playing that was so fucking disappointing. I had high hopes playing the demo, because I played the demo, and I was like, yeah, this is actually really fun. This is actually really cool. I really enjoy it. I just looked it up. Most of, like, the popular things around this is, like, stuff from, like, 10 to 12 years ago. And that's regarding I think the fucking demo. Yeah, it's called One Late Night Deadline. It's made by Black Curtain Studio. And they have released one other game for $5 called Marred. And it has nothing but negative reviews. Yeah. I don't know who's playtesting or Q&A on that game. I don't even know if anybody is and whatnot. But yeah, One Late Night Deadline is a example of, I think, one of the most disappointing fucking games. Because if you can, I would recommend anybody find the demo. Find the demo and play it, and you will understand what I'm talking about. And then take a shot at Deadline and see if you can't tell where I'm, like, going with the disappointment. Because, like, oh my god, I remember being at, like, a vending machine and trying to press buttons for a drink, because I think I had to, the game wanted me to get, like, drinks like coffee or whatever, or soda, and I tried it, and it just would not give me anything. It's just, I don't know. It's one of the, like, it just hit me in the face like a fucking Vietnam flashback. Oh my god, that game was so fucking bad. I don't ever want to play that shit in my life again. I don't ever. Like, it was just a buggy mess. It ran poorly. It played poorly. It sounded poor. It was overall, it's just a disappointing time. As opposed to, again, the demo. When I remember playing the demo, and it was overall, as an indie horror game, relatively, it was pretty good. Like, I mean, like, yeah, it has its problems, obviously, but for the most part, it's competent. It does its job perfectly fine. It sets up the atmosphere correctly. Like, you're just going through it step by step, and it works well enough. Like, it's very well. Like, it's, for a low budget indie horror game, the demo is really well done. It's just the official release, the final product, is such a spit in the face to what we could have had. I don't know why that is. Maybe the developers, like, just kind of, maybe there was somebody who, I don't know, maybe the person who made the demo is just an entirely different person, and a new studio took over and decided to make a game out of it, and they fucked it up. Maybe that's what happened. Or maybe the demo was literally just a fluke, where it was just a good game, it showed promise, but whoever was developing it, maybe they just tried to add all this different shit and just didn't know how to implement it correctly, and then just didn't bother talking to really anybody about it and everything, and they got approved for selling it on Steam. I don't know. The Steam part, you know, is probably not all that impressive considering the shit that the site allows on there. at times. Like, I've seen the number of AI-generated games. I've seen the number of, like, shovelware and whatnot that they allow on there. But yeah. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna stop there. That's a good enough note to end on. It's... Oh man, there's a number of other games that have been disappointing over the years, but I would have to go back and see if I changed my opinions about them, or if they are just as bad as I remember them. But to memory, those are the games that I remember the most playing, whether they be recent or whether they be, like, you know, stuff that came out years ago that I recently, like, frequented. But yeah. Oh man, I just feel sad now. This is why this is why I like talking about games I enjoy and everything, because I like feeling happy. I don't like feeling sad. I don't like feeling depressed. I get enough of that shit throughout the rest of my life. I don't like to bring it here as well. Whatever. Yeah, that's gonna do it. Yeah. Links in the description and all that everything. You already know what to do and everything. So, yeah. Thank you all so much for joining me and everything. And, I'll see y'all in the next one. So, in the meantime, I guess let me know if you want to check out any of the games. I think pretty much all of them are available on Steam. I'll add in timestamps to what I talk about and everything if you want to check it out there. But, yeah, I'm pretty sure all of them are available on Steam if you want to check it out. You know, I'll just like timestamp all the different games I talk about, so that way you can just check it out for yourself if you want and form your own opinion. But this is just my takes on all these different games. But yeah, and you know, if there's any other like disappointing games that you've had, like genuinely, I'm not talking about like games where it's like, oh, like, you know, I like this game, but it has its criticisms. I'm talking about games where it's just like, you know, you had hopes for it, and overall, it just genuinely, like, didn't pan out the way you wanted it and whatnot. Or it's just, like, it was a complete, like, wash. It's just a fucking botched project and everything. Like, you know, feel free to let me know, I guess. And, yeah, if I feel up for it, which I probably am going to, because, yeah, I don't really think I felt good about doing this, honestly. It's just kind of a, in the moment kind of thing I decided to do, I guess. But, I don't know, down the line, I feel like I'll talk about some games I actually really did enjoy over the years and whatnot. But yeah, thank you all so much for joining me, and, like I said, I'll see you all in the next one, so... Tune in next time for Autumn Colors Podcast. Take care.